All right, today we're talking about Serendipity 101, or how to create luck. So have you ever seen the people who just seem lucky, like all the time? Their projects always seem to just work out. They meet the right people, get the right breaks, and things just like flow. Well, I don't buy it. Telling other people they're luckier than you are is an excuse. It's hiding behind what I call selfish fear. Our fear that if we offer our talents to the world, that maybe they're not going to work out as we hoped. But the problem is it's selfish because we're keeping what we have to offer, our value, from other people. So it's an excuse. People aren't just lucky. There's something behind that. Sure, there's blind luck involved in everything, but these consistent success stories always have a pattern. I believe that pattern, that formula for being lucky, comes down to one practice: show up. Know the people who inspire you. Know the authors and influencers you want to meet. Know who you are, the things that excite you and the difference you want to make, your passions, talents, strengths, fears, all that kind of stuff. Be hyper aware of it. Know your everyday elevator pitch. What are the thing that you are working on, that you care about, that you're excited about, that you will tell people when they ask, what do you do? Instead of saying, oh, I'm an accountant, you say, oh, I'm working on building this charity for kids in my neighborhood, or whatever your thing is. Know the unique ways you can help people, the difference you can make, the way that you can change their lives. Know the things, ideas, people, places, and events you care enough to make time for. Have the courage to share your work, even when it's not ready, because it never is. Then show up. First, show up mentally. Step into the person you are and you know you want to be, which is someone who shares himself and inspires others and the ideas and difference he wants to make. Be the person who doesn't try to puff his chest to offer a facade to the world. Instead, be someone who decides to refresh the world by being unapologetically and vulnerably you. Because when you're you, you give people you're with the permission to be them. And that's often the greatest gift and something they might have never experienced before. Then, second, show up in the real world. Instead of finding excuses for being too busy with things that probably don't matter, find reasons to meet that friend or friend of a friend for lunch, to attend that last minute event, or say hello to the interesting person sitting in the seat next to you on the plane. Adopt the expectation that the time you invest will be worthwhile. Believe that you'll meet that person who will help get you to the next step, help find you that job or meet that partner or whatever it is that you're working on. And just as importantly, the one who you can inspire to take their own next step, because it's always a two-way street. When you expect magic to come from the things you do and you lean into that belief, magic starts to show up. Coincidences start to become commonplace. You recently decided to sign up for a marathon, and the next day you happen to sit next to a 6-year-old 10-time marathoner on the park bench. You finally commit to starting your book, and that night, the father of your daughter's preschool teacher turns out to be an editor whom you only met after dragging yourself to that open house at school. A failed business leads to your life's work. The lucky ones don't fail any less than you do. In fact, they probably fail a lot more. I know I certainly have. But to them, it's not failure. They do something with it. They're habitually resourceful. This is what I call serendipity, fortuitous luck, or as Webster puts it, the occurrence and development of events by chance in a happy and beneficial way. As we've heard thousands of times, when the student is ready, the teacher appears. If you go to an event thinking it will be a waste of time, it will be. If you show up excitedly wondered who you're going to meet, you'll connect with someone worthwhile. If you think the world is out to get you, it is. If you lean into possibility and embody what matters to you, the world will be in your corner. It's like Steve Jobs says in his famous commencement speech at Stanford. You can never connect the dots going forward, but you can always connect them going backwards. So you have to trust in something that they'll work out as you pursue the things you care about. When we know who we are and consistently show up and represent that to the world, our conversations start to change. The people we hang around and those we attract are those who align with that vision, with our vision. People notice. Doors start to open. The red carpet begins to appear. And it all starts with that decision to show up. And that's why we developed our Live Your Legend local in-person communities, which now span in hundreds of cities and nearly 100 countries. They didn't show up to meet their new best friend or business partner at these meetups. They never dreamed they'd finish their book or get their wife to finally understand why they'd been taking the road less traveled for so long. But every one of those things has happened to our hosts and to the attendees of these meetups numerous times around the world. Because people didn't come because they were guaranteed or expected a world-changing experience. They just showed up because something inside them said that's what needed to happen. that it made sense that what they were pursuing aligned with what these groups were about and that they should just be there. And they knew they were people they should be around. And then came the luck. And the more they showed up, the spiral of serendipity grew, just like it does for all of us. And to be very clear, this is not me handing out a prescription to run yourself into the ground by saying yes and showing up to everything under the sun. I'm suggesting you get crystal clear about how you want to show up so that you can say no to everything that's not you and say hell yes to the actions that change everything. But when in doubt, when you wonder, when you feel, should you go or should you not? Should you do this? Should you make that call? Remember, showing up, it's 100% in your control, and it is what leads to the things you could never imagine. So let me know how you decide to do it. All right, so now take 5 seconds in the comments below and tell us one way you're going to show up to something you care about this week and inspire the rest of us to hopefully do the same.